All right, perfect. So I've got Austin Rarus here. Austin, how many summers have you done door to door?
I've done it for 2 summers. I'll be going back next year for my third.
Perfect. So going off of this most recent summer, how much income do you think you're going to make from the summer you just completed?
Well, hopefully, like $50,000, $60,000.
Right.
And that's what I'm hoping for. I think that's a little bit realistic.
So that's based off of your numbers that yourself and your team did. That's probably right around where you're going to come in, right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And how long did you work doing door to door this summer?
So I worked just under 100 days. I think it was at 97 of the total days that I was out there knocking. I was out there for longer, obviously, but just days where I was knocking doors is about 97.
Perfect. And then give me like one or two of the hardest things that you experienced over this most recent summer, or it could have been, a past summer.
Um, I think the hardest thing is honestly just being prepared. I don't think anybody really goes into this job knowing exactly what they're getting themselves into. It's a job where you're not really fed all the information that you need at the beginning to be good at it, because it's not something that you can just get fed. It's something you have to experience. I think that's the hardest thing, is just adjusting to it, but it becomes really easy when you have like an environment around you that pushes you to a solid place to make you a better salesman just in general, and not even just salesman, but like more socially aware of stuff that's happening around you, and that becomes a lot easier. But that's definitely the hardest part, is just figuring out like what you're really getting yourself into those first couple of days.
Yeah, no, that's great. And honestly, just building off of that question, before your first summer, what's one thing that you wish you were told kind of going into it?
Oh my God. Well, I'll be honest with you, dude. I didn't even really know that like what door to door sales was. So I had very limited knowledge. I did like door to door sales selling football cards.
Hmm.
And so all I really knew was my recruiters, Lane and Landon, they had told me, like, dude, you're going to make a ton of money. Like, you could be really good at this job. Like, just get on an interview. And, I talked to Dave and he believed in me, and that's something that I really liked. But yeah, I would say just overall, that for the most part, just not really, I don't know how to put it into words. Um, I'm blanking here, Don.
No, you're good. Just maybe a little bit more of just kind of some information and just preparing you a little bit mentally for kind of what
Yeah,
it was
I
going to
think
look like.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that they told me. Oh yeah, so they told me, you are gonna you're gonna do this job. You're gonna be great. You're gonna be door to door sales. And I only really knew it was pest control coming in about like a month before when I got the pitch sent to me. I was like, oh, it's pest control.
Hmm.
But this was, I mean, years ago. I learned now that these guys are switching over from like a different company. They were obviously figuring things out for themselves as well. But
Hmm.
personally, just for me, I had no idea that like it was going to be long hours. It was going to be. I knew that it was going to be strenuous. That there were going to be people telling me no, but I did not expect the emotional toll that it took on me as well. Either to be getting told no consistently, yes and no every single day, but still being able to persevere through that and having control in your emotions and your focus to be able to really make the jump to always having a positive attitude.
Yeah, that's great. And I think that's kind of a big goal of ours here at Forge, doing stuff like this, where we kind of interview our reps and their experiences over the past, so that new people coming in understand that we have a lot up front, but we also give you as much information as we possibly can, so that you don't have an experience like you did, where it's just like you're coming out and you have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
So I think that's some great insight from you. Um, Based on the last couple summers of doing door to door, how do you feel you've changed as a person?
Oh my God, so much. So much. I mean, let alone just obviously, like, I've never put myself in a position to where I've just been grinding all the time, focused on, making my money, making sure that I am, being the best type of person I can be every single day. Besides all that, just meeting these people that, like, you meet on the doors and learning from them and listening to them, talking to them, and just being more socially aware when you are talking to people. I feel like it's just made me like almost like a million times smarter in the aspect of understanding social cues and social expectations from people, and understanding like when it's time to leave and when it's time to stay, and um, what to say and what not to say to certain types of people. And I think from that point of view, for me especially, like I mean, I had two deaf parents growing up, so the only culture that I was really focused in was the deaf and in the hearing world. But when it came to being, influenced by other cultures, there was none of that. My parents didn't really even have understandings of other cultures other than their own. So this job really just put me out into the world and understand like what kind of people there are, what kind of people there aren't, and like what I can really expect as just, becoming an adult and starting my adult life.
Yeah, no, that's great. Let's see here. So, what do you think if you were to restart your first summer or potentially even this most recent summer, what would you change or improve on doing that?
Well, to be honest, this last summer I really feel like I gave it my all, so I can't really say there's too much that I would change. Maybe other than like a few things on like a day or two where I wasn't feeling the most motivated, but for the most part, my first summer I would say um, I started showing promise, and I started making a lot of the days where I'd have some good revenue on the board, and I started becoming lazy because of it. I didn't really feel like I started thinking like, oh my God, like like I'm projected to make $8,000. Like if the summer ended right now, like $8,000 to anybody sounds great, but if there's something that I wish I knew was just it. I wasn't too far away from doubling that, tripling that. If I had just worked the hours that they were out in front of me, the entire playing field was out in front of me. I had all the tools to execute. I just decided to make the wooden bowl tomorrow morning for cereal rather than the night before. You know, so I would put things off. I wouldn't really focus too much on that. I was just kind of more focused on like, hey, like I'm about to make some money, and I wish that I had just put my nose on the grindstone and just kept running through it. That's the one thing I wish I did my first year. That's what I did last year. I felt like I really improved on, was just pushing through that. And then the next year, I want to be able to influence that on the people that coming around me. That mentality, put them on that onto them, and really just let them feel the same thing I felt. Where you go in for your second summer and you feel even more accomplished than you have in your entire life.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a pretty common theme after a rep's first summer coming into their second one, is you start to see a pretty big increase in total production because you've had that experience and because you understand kind of what needs to happen over a summer. And that's one thing that we are super excited about when we bring on new reps, is just being able to have guys like yourself having gone through that and being able to kind of mentor them through their first summer of like, hey, look, man, like I've been there, I've felt this way. It happens to everybody, but being able to kind of push through that is miles better than not being able to push through that. And typically you end up having a better and more successful rookie summer. So that's great. Now, when it comes to keeping motivated during the summer, what's a few things that you did either first summer or this most recent summer that kept you working and kept you motivated to make it through till the end?
I think the thing that kept me most motivated, honestly, it's gonna sound a little sickening, but it was all like a little game to me, you know? Waking up every day and getting out there and, looking at the leaderboard. I would never really look at it too much, only in the morning shift, because I would see all my buddies just make a sale, make 2 sales, and I was like, oh my God, like there's no way I'm letting them get more than me. And so then I would just go at it from there, and then by the end of the day, I'd check, and more times than not, I'd be winning. I'd always win because that's just me. I'm a winner. But I think that that's honestly something that motivated me a lot, and also, just me as a person. I've always wanted to be financially free. I grew up pretty fortunate for the most part. My parents never gave me too much though, which was the thing that always kept me hungry. So I think just being financially free was also a really big motivator. I want to be able to start that part of my life where I'm not having to, like I know every kid does this, especially in their 20s, text their mom every time like they run out of Tide Pods and they're running low on their last check from wherever they were working. So just stuff like that. I wanted to be financially free from that. I wanted to also be able to go out and experience things with my life and start different portfolios. And that's what this money is going to be able to give me, is opportunities. And that's what this job is able to give me, is the opportunity to go out and start that type of career that I've always wanted. I don't think anybody's end game is necessarily pest control, but I think everybody at the same time really wants to be financially free, motivated. They want to be they want to be rich. At the end of the day, everybody wants to be rich.
Absolutely.
And I think this is a great way to start that off. There's not really too many jobs that you can get, especially at our age, that are going to be able to pay you a lump sum like this, especially for the work that you put in, which is a lot more than the work you're going to put in for some other company. So that's like, you're working a 9 to 5, you're making $60,000 that year. Well, guess what? I did that in 3 months. So
Yep.
I think that this job offers a lot more opportunity in that aspect.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. So last thing, just in terms of, the culture that you've been a part of when, you've been selling over the past couple of years with Hawks and with the teams that you've been with. What do you think is kind of the best part about the culture in general, the team, the leaders? What went really well last year that you were happy with?
Well, honestly, I would say my first year, this is what really made me motivated. And last year was great too, don't get me wrong, but my first year is when it opened my eyes to see like what kind of like people that were doing this job. Like they were all like, I know this is gonna sound corny, but dogs. They were all dogs, like Dave Watterson, like especially. Like I remember I got out there to Milwaukee and it was like my second day, and I checked the leaderboard, and he's at like $10,000 in revenue in a day. And I follow him, and I just see him just like consistently. It's not even like manipulation. It's just sincerely like him showing people like their problem and like why they need it. And he was so good at it. And it's a skill that I admired so much, and I wanted to learn, because something like that is worth millions. It's not even worth the amount of money that we're making now. It's worth 3-4 times that amount. And to have that kind of skill is something that I wanted to learn and I wanted to master. And that's what my first summer did for me. And then last year, I felt I did a pretty good job of just continuing on that practice of continuously getting better and better to where I could eventually get to that spot. And I think that this last year, especially this last summer, a few other things I really liked and I want to improve on in the next summer was just being able to train my guys that came in and kind of like ignite that fire into them and tell them what worked for me and what worked for other people, and just really push them into that avenue as well.
Yeah, no, that's great. Well, that's all I had for you today, man. I appreciate you taking the time to do this little interview. Yeah, man, I hope you have a great weekend, and we will talk very soon.
I love you, Don.
Love you too, brother. See ya.